Well, listen. If you don't have anything to say, you blab. You just go on and 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 on.
Voters do not agree with these despicable women on The View. They are wildly out of touch.
Welcome to Twins Brother. Whoopi Goldberg has spent years reigning over The View like an untouchable monarch, shutting down guests, steamrolling over differing opinions, and tossing out her takes.
Well, listen. If you don't have anything to say, you blab. You just go on and 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 on.
Right.
That's what you hear.
Yeah.
When they don't have anything to hold you with, nothing to make you think about what they have to say, they talk at you, not to you. And that's what she was doing. And she was doing it, and it's not new.
No.
But everybody's hip to you all now.
Yeah.
And we are anticipating that you are not prepared. Because you keep saying you going and you preparing when you're on the trail.
As if they were divine truths. But then came Karoline Leavitt. In one brutal episode, the so-called queen of daytime television found herself completely knocked off her throne. Nobody saw this coming. The episode kicked off like any other. Smug laughter, a panel of left-leaning co-hosts nodding in blind agreement, and an air of...
With the vast majority of Americans, and frankly, they should seek immediate help because voters...
I think she's probably been put in there because according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though, it's not her first job. It was her first press briefing. She worked in the previous Trump administration.
Superiority thick enough to cut with a knife. But the moment Whoopi opened her mouth, everything shifted. The topic? Wokeness. A sacred doctrine on The View, defended like the Holy Grail. And Whoopi, she was feeling bold. She locked eyes with Karoline, flashed that signature smirk, and went straight for the jugular. Without wokeness, you wouldn't even have this job. Boom.
I would like to talk about Joe Biden and Donald Trump, who you work for.
I am stating facts that your colleagues have stated in the past.
Okay,
now,
I'm sorry, guys. We're going to come back out to the panel. Karoline, thank you very much for your time.
That was so good. It was so good. In a statement afterwards, this young lady claimed her, quote, on-air snub proves that you know who will not be treated fairly in the upcoming debate. Now, do you think this is going to make people doubt whether CNN can stay objective, or is this more of the same of, everybody's against me, it's all rigged, I tell you. Is everything rigged?
No, it's their MO. That's what they do. Rachel Maddow said last week, she's like, if the election is lost, it was rigged. If there's a debate, then
The air got sucked right out of the room. Even Joy Behar, the queen of sneering at conservatives, shifted uncomfortably in her chair, sensing the firestorm about to erupt. This wasn't just a casual disagreement. This was Whoopi erasing Karoline's entire career, her intelligence, her hard work, all in one dismissive swipe, reducing her success to nothing more than a product of an ideology she actively opposes. It was cold-blooded.
That you saw live on this program yesterday. Joy Behar stirring the pot of controversy after saying this about Karoline.
She's probably been put in there because according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
Do you want to take this?
No, you cannot be attractive and smart. I will try to give Joy the benefit of, oh, thank you. I try to give Joy the benefit of the doubt that she didn't see that briefing, because if you saw that yesterday on numerous topics, no big binder, I think she might have had a different impression of this young woman who held her own.
I mean, you would have to give her the benefit of the doubt that she did absolutely no research or reading about anything dealing with Karoline Leavitt before she made that remark. Because Karoline Leavitt she went to St. Anselm College. She worked for WMUR
Ran for Congress?
In New Hampshire. She ran for Congress at the age of 25, put on a very good campaign. She lost by 8 or 9 points, but she still put on a good campaign. Then she was the press secretary for the Trump campaign, going on TV literally every day.
Well, heavily pregnant and a new mom.
Pregnant. Yeah, she's a new mother. And then she goes out yesterday and gives and this, again, this is speaking very objectively, because I've watched every press secretary since going back to Marlon Fitzwater. Yeah, I'm that old. And she went out there for her very first briefing at the age of 27 years old, the youngest press secretary ever, and did a terrific job
Flooded, and the audience felt it. Still, like trained seals, they clapped along. But Karoline, she didn't flinch. No stuttering. No scrambling for words. Instead, she smiled a slow, knowing smile that screamed, "Oh, you just made a big mistake." And then, with the kind of unshakable confidence that only comes from knowing you have the facts on your side, she demolished Whoopi's entire argument. This was unlike anything The View had ever seen before. And trust me, you're going to want to stick around for this. So make sure to like and subscribe as we dive deeper into this epic takedown. Karoline came armed with receipts. She pulled out cold, hard numbers. Government spending reports exposing how taxpayer dollars...
Most divisive and disgusting speech that any president, certainly in my lifetime, has ever given. He essentially waged war on half of the country by saying that we are all a threat to democracy because we believe in putting America first. It's not radical to want to put your country and your own people first. It's not radical to want to have a strong border, a strong military, and to unleash the might of your own economy, not economies around the world. You know, we have seen cultural Marxism trickling its way through every institution in this country. The public school system, the higher education university system, Hollywood, big tech, the corrupt mainstream media that I fought against in President Trump's White House are indoctrinating my generation of Americans into hating our country, hating one another based on race and gender and sex and all of this other BS, quite frankly.
Were being funneled into outrageous woke initiatives. She rattled off example after example. Gender studies in Guatemala, foreign Sesame Street programs designed to push American social activism abroad. And the list went on. This wasn't about fairness anymore. Wokeness had morphed into something else entirely, a political tool used to silence anyone who dared to think differently. Whoopi, so used to guests fumbling over their words and retreating under pressure, suddenly found herself backed into a corner. And the worst part, there was no easy way out. She opened her mouth, then shut it, opened it again. Nothing. The audience? Frozen. No laughter. No applause. Just silence. Even the camera crew hesitated. Should they zoom in on Whoopi's stunned face? The same Whoopi Goldberg who had just fired off that dismissive remark now looked like she wanted to sink into her chair. And in that moment, the so-called Queen of the View wasn't just losing an argument. She was losing control. If wokeness is really about diversity and inclusion, Karoline
Yeah, I would like this young lady this is her first job, I would like her to do a little homework. Because she said something yesterday that really pissed me off. And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here. Oh, yeah. Let me explain something to you. Because without that wokeness, you might not have that job. Yeah. Because women were not invited to that table. Women were not invited to many tables in this nation. The reason we fought and busted our behinds to make sure that you didn't have to worry about this. And now to hear you talk about it and to hear anybody talk about the wokeness was put in place for a reason. Because black people couldn't get into colleges. Because women could not get into the colleges they wanted to go to. This is all women. Yeah. See, this is not black, Asian women. This is all women. Women were not invited to this party. It was a man's world, and we busted our asses to make sure that this was...
Then why is it that conservative women are always the ones getting attacked? Right now, Whoopi knows she's got nothing. No witty comeback. No smug retort to save face. The silence, deafening. Joy Behar, sensing the disaster unfolding in real time, tried to throw out a nervous joke. Yeah, but it was too late. The damage was done. Whoopi had just made a mistake so catastrophic that even the internet couldn't believe it. And here's where things get even
to each side. And now when we've gone to this place where you only hear this, see, we have to tell you both sides. That's why Alyssa's here, that's why Anna's here, because we don't all think the same way. And it's like you all don't think the same way, so you want to hear what other people say. But when they're lying, we can't have it. We can't allow on this show to have things said that we know for a fact are not true. That's what it used to be. That's what it needs to go back to be, and that's where y'all come in. It's okay to feel how you feel, but demand the truth. Demand folks fact check what they're telling you, because what they're telling you is important.
crazier. This wasn't even the first time Whoopi's mouth had written a check she couldn't cash. For years, she's turned The View into a lawsuit magnet, dragging ABC into one controversy after another. From her tone-deaf Holocaust remarks to her bizarre defenses of highly questionable figures, Whoopi has been at the center of some of daytime TV's biggest scandals. But nothing shook the network quite like the recent defamation lawsuits. First from Carrie Underwood, then Elon Musk, and now Karoline Leavitt. Let's talk about Carrie Underwood. When she performed at Trump's second swearing-in ceremony, Whoopi and her co-hosts went after her like vultures. They mocked her, claimed she had destroyed her career, and even suggested she had aligned herself with hate. Underwood, usually one to avoid drama, wasn't having it. She fired back with a billion...
Be a seat. My team will review the applications and give credentials to new media applicants who meet our criteria and pass United States Secret Service requirements to enter the White House complex.
All right.
What'd she say?
She basically said that they were going to give unqualified
God, how boring.
unqualified
Can they get
people
somebody there who's
jobs.
not
The
so
Behind
tedious?
the Table podcast needs to apply for White House credentials.
Oh, they'd love having Joy in that room.
I
got a question.
So wait a second. So in other words, instead of Bob Woodward, they want Kim Kardashian? What? I don't get it.
$1 million defamation lawsuit. And when the case went to court, leaked emails revealed something explosive. ABC had orchestrated the attack on Underwood to boost ratings. That lawsuit rocked the industry. The settlement, massive, and suddenly, ABC executives were forced to ask the one...
Attacking a woman for her looks or age isn't very progressive. Let's bring in Sky News contributor Kosha Garda. Kosha, particularly that last clip that we played, it was so condescending. The way that she was scolding her as if she was a schoolgirl, suggesting she needed to do her homework. I find it so hypocritical when these so-called, caring, progressive voices just turn so nasty like that.
Yes, and as you mentioned, with conservative women, there's a long list of that, both of Trump's previous press secretaries, females, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Kayleigh McEnany, other figures like his campaign manager the first time, Kellyanne Conway, Sarah Palin very famously had to bear the brunt of a lot of this. So people are used to that. I think in their bubble of the audience that The View speaks to, that's probably kind of what the group think is. So one defense, I guess, is that she was speaking to her audience, but you take it outside of that bubble the way you are right now, and we all can see what it is. It was also interesting, too, because she was conflating two ideas.
One question they never thought they'd have to. Is The View even worth the trouble anymore? And then there was Elon Musk. Whoopi had spent months calling Musk everything from a dangerous billionaire to a threat to democracy. But when she and the other hosts started going around making provably false claims about Twitter's policies under Musk, he did something no one expected. He sued. And when Musk sues, he doesn't mess around. ABC immediately went into full-blown damage control. And whispers started circulating. Major advertisers were losing patience.
Rockstar.
Meantime, new Rockstar launched overnight. Now, I know she's been around for some time, but how's this? She's just 27. But she's fantastic. This is the brand new press secretary representing the president. Now remember old Karoline Jean-Pierre just lying to people about how amazing Biden was, deep fakes. The one before that, Jen Psaki, circle around just telling lies. Well, they've been replaced with a lady called Karoline Leavitt. I repeat, you can see she's a lady of faith. She's a lady who knows how to fire guns recreationally, and she knows how to drop a few bombs verbally on a press pack that, remember, covered up for Biden and have told the worst possible lies about incoming future Hitler Trump. Have a look at her taking control of a room of people who normally wouldn't even roll their eyes.
With the View's endless controversies. And then Karoline Leavitt delivered yet another devastating blow. 1 lawsuit is bad. 2, worse. But 3? That's a crisis. ABC execs were panicking. The show was hemorrhaging millions in ad revenue. And behind closed doors, insiders leaked reports that some of the network's biggest sponsors.
While I vow to provide the truth from this podium, we ask that all of you in this room hold yourselves to that same standard. We know for a fact there have been lies that have been pushed by many legacy media outlets in this country about this president, about his family, and we will not accept that. We will call you out when we feel that your reporting is wrong or there's misinformation about this White House.
Boom. She's got more.
I would like to point out to each and every one of you that in 2024, when Joe Biden was in the Oval Office, or upstairs in the residence sleeping, I'm not so sure, egg prices increased 65% in this country.
Bam! It's on in the middle of the night.
Sponsors were reconsidering their partnerships, but the fallout didn't stop there. ABC immediately went into survival mode. For years, they had let Whoopi run The View like a personal empire, shutting down conservative guests without consequence. But now, she was the one getting shut down. And it was nothing short of humiliating.
Voters do not agree with these despicable women on The View. They are wildly out of touch with the vast majority of Americans, and frankly, they should seek immediate help because voters are going to re-elect President Trump back to the White House very soon because voters see these trials that are being brought forward against President Trump for what they are. They are sham show trials. They are election interference in an attempt to imprison President Trump. And the irony in all of this is that Joe Biden and the Democrats and these ladies on The View constantly say President Trump is the alleged threat to democracy, when in fact they themselves are wishfully thinking that President Trump will be imprisoned when he has not been convicted of any crimes. That is the real threat to democracy. Voters see that, and that's why President Trump continues his dominance in the polls, not just with Republicans and independents, but he's also picking up historic gains with Democrat constituencies such as African Americans, Hispanic Americans, and union workers.
Well, humiliating. Then came the real nightmare. Sponsors started pulling out. Advertisers wanted nothing to do with a show where the host storms off instead of debating. Even loyal View fans started questioning whether the show had finally gone too far. And then came the moment no one saw coming. ABC removed Whoopi Goldberg from The View. Of course, they didn't say she was fired. They tried the usual PR spin, claiming Whoopi was taking a break to focus on other projects. But everyone knew the truth. The reign of...
Add one last thing. What was interesting to me is Dan Rather weighed in on X, and he said he compared our time now to the Nixon era, which was a little scary for me. But he said enough with both sides-ism. When one side lies intentionally and repeatedly, they are no longer entitled to the benefit of the doubt.
And we should keep in mind, too, that the people that need to hear this are the people who are running the networks that are okaying this. Because this idea, it's like they say to you now, you can only work within this perimeter. But if the facts are not clear to people, that was what a journalist was there to do, to say, in fact, this is what went on and this is how we checked. Now, we've been given doubts that people don't know how to do this. The media has pretty much always been...
was taking a break to focus on other projects. But everyone knew the truth. The reign of Whoopi Goldberg on The View officially over. She spent years dominating The View, turning what was supposed to be a panel discussion into an echo chamber where only one side of the argument was allowed to exist. She belittled, dismissed, and silenced guests like it was her full-time job. But then came one debate with Karoline Leavitt, and just like that, everything changed. Now the question is, what happens next? Would ABC bring in another Whoopi-like figure to keep pushing the same one-sided narrative? Or would they finally wake up and admit that the show desperately needs balance? Either way, Whoopi thought she could steamroll Karoline. Instead, she got wrecked in front of millions. And now, as ABC scrambles to clean up the mess, the world is watching